这是这样的，我在跟我一个朋友玩一个游戏，我们要看谁能先亲100个女孩子。你是美女，帅哥，我想亲。
不行。
为什么？
不好意思，我在等人。
因为没有头发。
不是，
因为你在等你的帅哥。
对。
他不在，没事，都是我的秘密。
好吧，好吧。
It's truly jaw-dropping. Two foreigners actually initiated a challenge on the streets of Shanghai, kissing 100 Chinese girls. Not only did they complete the challenge, but they also brazenly posted the video online. This behavior is already outrageous enough, but what's even more shocking is that some of the girls, who were clearly waiting for their boyfriends, actually leaned in for another kiss. What's going on here? Have you never experienced this kind of attention before? Do you seriously lack even this bit of self-control and resolve? Where is your moral bottom line? Imagine if it were Chinese men randomly kissing strangers on the street. They would probably have been taken to the detention center by now, wouldn't they? Isn't this a blatant double standard? Taking a step further, let's not even talk about whether your boyfriend might see this video. If these images were seen by your parents, how would they feel? After all their hard work raising you, only to witness such degrading behavior? This kind of conduct is utterly low-class and shows no sense of boundaries. What's even more ridiculous is that just because they are foreigners, this kind of behavior is glamorized by Chinese girls as being humorous and charming. Yet if a Chinese man were to do anything remotely similar, even just holding up a phone in the subway, he would immediately be suspected of secretly filming you. Your fellow countrymen can't even glance at you for more than a moment, let alone kiss you. As soon as you feel offended, you're quick to act outraged. But when these foreigners ask to kiss you, not only do you not refuse, you actually lean in willingly. Please have some self-respect. Set a boundary. Watching this kind of behavior is utterly exasperating. What kind of values are driving you to act this way?
Why does
it always seem that foreigners find it much easier to pursue girls in China, while local Chinese men have to go to great lengths to do the same? Some foreigners can even have 4 or 5 girlfriends within a month. Such situations make people feel like they are treating Chinese women as mere playthings. This phenomenon is not new either. There have always been stories circulating online, such as a female university student marrying far away in Africa, only to end up living a miserable life. These incidents should serve as a wake-up call, yet some women remain oblivious. In the eyes of these women, foreign men are synonymous with gentlemen, not only affectionate and romantic but also seemingly refined. Walking around with a foreign boyfriend, they feel proud and even willing to act as a simp. However, reality is often far from this ideal. In truth, many foreigners are not doing well in their own countries. Some cannot even find decent jobs, which is why they come to China to try their luck. Do you expect them to buy you a house and a car or pay a substantial bride price like traditional Chinese men do when getting married? Don't even think about it. When those foreigners take you out to dinner, they might even insist on splitting the bill. Nevertheless, some women, driven by vanity, blindly worship foreign cultures, focusing only on superficial glamour and so-called exotic charm, while ignoring the essence of the matter. It is precisely this mindset that causes many Chinese women to fall victim. These phenomena reflect issues in the cognition and values of some women. Shouldn't we take a moment to pause and think carefully about why so many people are willing to give up the pursuit of genuine happiness to chase after things that are flashy on the surface but false in substance? What do you think about this issue?
中国女人啊，看不起中国男人，这一点呢，一点都不夸张。
It is not an exaggeration to say that Chinese women look down on Chinese men. Instead, it is a common psychological phenomenon in reality. They often consider themselves smart, yet they display a perplexing double standard when it comes to choosing a partner. A striking example is that foreign men seem to pursue Chinese beauties effortlessly, while Chinese men have to go to great lengths, even competing fiercely, to win their affection. Yesterday, I received a consultation from a girl born in 2001, a beautiful young woman with a tall, slender figure and long, charming legs. She told me that she had recently been attracted to a foreign man. This foreigner managed to arrange a meeting with her through a simple chat, and by the next day, the two were already having breakfast together. She described the man as wild and charismatic, making her feel completely captivated. She even began to fantasize about whether she could use this relationship to eventually get a green card. So, she asked me how to maintain this relationship in the long run, as she noticed the foreign man seemed to be particularly infatuated with her and had already started planning a second date. In response, I bluntly told her not to overthink. In this foreign man's eyes, she might merely be someone with whom he could casually develop an intimate relationship. I also suggested that she test the man's true intentions, for instance, by asking him to take her to a high-end restaurant where the per capita spending exceeds 1,000 yuan, or by asking him for expensive gifts to see his reaction. As a result, the girl, full of confidence, tried this out and sent the man an address for an expensive restaurant. What happened? The foreign man immediately began making excuses to avoid going. Such scenarios are not uncommon. Many foreigners who, in their own countries, might not be anybody special, or even struggle to find a decent job, are regarded as hot commodities by many Chinese women and enjoy a special status. In contrast, Chinese men face intense competition in the marriage market. To find a partner, they often need to fulfill various conditions, such as owning a house, a car, having savings, and providing a dowry. Otherwise, they can hardly make any progress. Comparatively, foreign men can easily win over Chinese women with just a meal and a few sweet words, making the latter feel that such behavior is entirely normal and even willingly give more in return. These foreign men may not genuinely value Chinese women in their hearts. They simply exploit some women's longing for romance and blind admiration for foreign cultures. Yet, some women, due to this mentality of blindly worshipping foreign things, overlook the importance of sincere and steadfast love. They perceive foreign men as romantic, tasteful, or even ceremonial and willing to apologize first. With a few sweet words, these men can effortlessly capture their hearts. But on reflection, aren't the Chinese men around you, those willing to treat you sincerely and cherish you wholeheartedly, just as desirable?
为什么黑人成为了女孩子追求的异性呢？
Why do some girls choose to date, or even marry black men? This phenomenon is not accidental but reflects a hidden psychological state. They seem to harbor a subtle sense of disdain for domestic men deep down. Back in school, I knew a black student from Ghana. He left a deep impression on me and gave me a new perspective on certain things. At that time, we organized a football game every month. Once, I asked him if he had a Chinese girlfriend. Without hesitation, he told me he had many and often changed one every week. This response left me dumbfounded. Out of curiosity, I continued to ask him how he met and dated these Chinese girls. His answer shocked me even more. He said his strategy was simple. Be proactive. He would directly ask for a girl's contact information, speaking in Mandarin. Can you give me your phone number? If rejected, he wouldn't pester them but would turn to the next girl. He said he could ask more than a dozen girls a day, and there would always be some willing to give their number. Once he got the number, he would contact them that very evening and use the excuse of practicing Chinese to ask them out. He told me that as long as he could make a girl laugh, it became easier to build a closer relationship. What amazed me even more was his observation about interacting with Chinese girls. He said that on the surface, Chinese girls might seem conservative, but in private, they are very open. Of course, some girls initially showed some resistance, but as long as he was a little more persistent, they would gradually accept this default relationship. His insights opened my eyes and made me realize for the first time that the so-called secret to never lacking girlfriends was like this. In contrast, the dating style of Chinese men seems too reserved and introverted. He mentioned that Chinese men often lack the courage to approach the women they like because of their inferiority complex. But black men are different. Once they spot a girl they like, they take the initiative and are not afraid of rejection. Their strategy is casting a wide net to catch more fish, believing that as long as one responds, it is a success. On the other hand, Chinese men prefer to focus on one girl, pursuing her from start to finish, sending red envelopes and various gifts, being overly ingratiating, yet often with little result. This is why some girls choose black boyfriends. They feel black men are bolder, more direct, and more masculine. Additionally, some girls feel a sense of pride in having a foreign boyfriend, believing it elevates their presence or even serves as a status symbol. Especially when they are with black men, they feel a sense of security and inclusivity, a psychological satisfaction that domestic men may find difficult to provide. In contrast, Chinese men's performance seems much less impressive. Whether in terms of confidence or initiative, They appear more conservative and passive. This may be the key reason why some women choose foreign boyfriends.
为什么老外在川渝追女生就特别容易？
Why is it that in China, foreigners find it particularly easy to pursue girls? In contrast, domestic men often have to go to great lengths, rack their brains, and even max out their credit cards, only to find that they might not be able to win a girl's heart. What is the real reason behind this? Is it really because domestic men are not outstanding enough to catch these girls' eyes? Take Sichuan and Chongqing as an example. Indeed, there are some girls who are particularly fascinated by foreigners. They always think these foreign men are romantic, handsome, and wealthy. Many times, just because a foreigner takes the initiative to strike up a conversation, these girls' defenses crumble instantly. In reality, many foreigners don't live well in their own countries. Some can even be said to have come to China because they couldn't make it back home, and some are even doing illegal work here. Yet, once they arrive in our country, these people suddenly transform into hot commodities in the eyes of some girls. No matter what they say or do, many girls believe them without a second thought. In just the time it takes to share a cigarette or a drink, these men can flirt a girl away. What's regrettable is that many girls don't pay attention to the character or real background of these foreign men. Instead, they are driven by a blind sense of admiration and throw themselves at them. For example, some foreigners come to China and might just be a hairstylist in a barber shop, essentially a foreign worker. These people might not even have finished elementary school and are struggling back home. However, simply because they have a foreign face, they can date 6 or 7 girls in China in a single month. They treat these girls as playthings, easily gaining their attention and trust. At the same time, domestic men face an extremely competitive environment when looking for a partner. Houses, cars, and bride prices, all these pressures are overwhelming. Despite this, some girls still prefer these foreign men, thinking they have struck gold, and even believing that this could help them achieve upward social mobility. However, what they don't realize is that many times, these foreigners only see them as temporary playthings. Once they get what they want, they leave quickly, without even looking back. Yet these girls still foolishly wait, fantasizing that the foreigner will one day have a change of heart. Such outcomes are lamentable, but it also makes one think that perhaps these girls somewhat deserve being deceived and hurt.
你们有谈过老外的男朋友吗？
Have you ever dated a foreign boyfriend, sisters? I have to admit, when I first came to the United States, I did try dating a foreign guy. But that relationship was very short-lived and ended quickly. The main reason was that we had irreconcilable differences in many cultural aspects. The most direct conflict lay in our eating habits. Most of the food he liked didn't interest me, and the Chinese food I loved seemed too complex and heavily seasoned to him, and he couldn't get used to it at all. In addition, my language skills at that time were not very advanced, and I often couldn't express my thoughts accurately. Likewise, I often couldn't fully understand what he was saying. These communication barriers further exacerbated our conflicts, making it difficult for us to achieve genuine emotional resonance. As a result, our relationship ended in a breakup after a short period. However, if you are interested in dating a foreigner or want to try it, I do have some experience to share. First, you need to create opportunities for yourself. Whether it's meeting online at social gatherings or through study and work, the method doesn't really matter. Some people might think that meeting online is riskier, but some of my friends have met their partners online and eventually got married. So, the key is whether you are willing to take the initiative to meet someone rather than obsessing over the specific method. Second, if you decide to give it a try, you must be mentally prepared to face cultural differences. This is very important because, whether it's lifestyle habits or ways of thinking, there will always be some unavoidable issues in cross-cultural relationships. This requires you to have the ability to accept differences and work through them. For instance, in my personal case, I'm not a native English speaker, so there was often a communication gap with my partner. Especially during arguments, I always felt that the language barrier prevented me from expressing my emotions freely, which was almost a fatal issue for me. The Chinese girls around me have different attitudes toward dating foreigners. Some choose to date foreign boyfriends to improve their language skills, and they have indeed grown a lot in such relationships. On the other hand, some Chinese girls would never consider dating foreigners under any circumstances. They feel that communication is too tiring, and the discomfort caused by cultural differences makes it very difficult to maintain the relationship. Therefore, this is really a matter of personal preference. If you're willing to try, you might gain something. If not, that's perfectly fine too. You can choose a path that suits you best. Ultimately, matters of the heart are not about right or wrong, but about compatibility. What do you think?
我讲一下美国的男人，就是我还是很喜欢的一个地方，就是美国有各种的。
When talking about men in the United States, what I really love here is the diversity of men encompassing various ethnicities and mixed race backgrounds. People from different ethnic groups blend together, creating a unique mixed race charm. I have a colleague who is a mix of German and American. He has golden hair, bright blue eyes, and stands about 1.85 meters tall. His physique is very well proportioned, with muscle lines that make one think of just two words: healthy. This type of man is simply breathtakingly handsome. Speaking of which, there's a guy I once dated. He's of Middle Eastern and American descent, with healthy, sun-kissed skin, a tall and lean build, and an incredibly good physique. His appearance is perfect for cosplay. No matter what character he dresses up as, it's completely seamless. This made me reflect that, by comparison, Chinese men's appearances and variety are relatively singular. In the US, you can meet all sorts of men. Another time, I went out with a Mexican wrestler. He's the quintessential long-haired rock guy with a high-nose bridge, deep and beautiful eyes, and an overall vibe of rebellion and freedom. His personal story is also quite legendary. In his 20s, he unexpectedly became a father, and now, as a single dad, he's navigating life in the US. His style, tattoos, a tongue piercing, playing rock music, and doing underground boxing, embodies the bad boy charm that's so captivating. What I appreciate even more is that many men in the US don't have that so-called effeminate demeanor. Comparatively speaking, it's not that such men don't exist in China, but this type is indeed relatively harder to find. Additionally, I have to mention a physiological difference. Frankly speaking, there are noticeable physical differences between races. For instance, my boyfriend, though he's slim and not particularly tall or muscular, stands out in certain aspects. It's like how black women have body types, such as their exaggerated thigh and hip curves, that Asian women can hardly achieve through training. Therefore, I think stepping out into the world to see it is meaningful for both Chinese men and women. Different cultures, races, and lifestyles will enrich your understanding of the world and open a new door for your views on choosing a partner. This diversity and freedom of choice are worth experiencing.
Why do some people say that Chinese girls like to date foreigners? Actually, we all know that China does not lack men. In fact, there are nearly 30 million single men who, for various reasons, cannot find a wife. However, even under these circumstances, many Chinese girls are still willing to choose to date foreigners. So, what is the reason behind this? Honestly, even if it is not spoken out loud, everyone may already have some ideas in their hearts. A foreigner who has lived in China for 10 years publicly recorded and shared his experiences of picking up girls in China, and he uploaded these stories online. This sparked intense controversy and discussion. Many netizens felt very uncomfortable after seeing this content, and at the same time, they felt a kind of unspeakable sorrow. During his 10 years in China, this foreigner dated a total of 1,242 Chinese girls. He not only recorded each girl's name, but also included their photos. According to the data, this means that on average, he picked up more than 120 girls per year in China, which is equivalent to dating one Chinese girl every 3 days. He even claimed that picking up girls in China is especially easy. All it takes is waving your hand, and a girl will be attracted. Many people find such things unacceptable, especially Chinese men. This phenomenon undoubtedly reflects a sense of helplessness. Although some have pointed out that there are also irresponsible jerks among Chinese men, to be honest, many still feel that these Chinese women are very disgraceful and have brought shame to the country on an international scale. How should we view this phenomenon? Some people think it is a matter of personal choice, while others believe it reflects a mentality of admiring foreign things and foreign people among some Chinese women. What do you think? Why do Chinese girls seem to prefer foreigners? Feel free to leave your comments. I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Your support means a lot to us, and we will continue to bring you better programs. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time.